I'm a mother of 3. I own my own bakery. I quit my regular job to kind of chase my dream and open my own shop. Hopefully I'm one of those stories on Oprah one day that's just like, she had $200 in her bank account and she had no idea what she was doing. I think the reason that I didn't do it before everybody, my friends were like, just quit, just take the leap, is just fear of what if I'm not good enough to make it work. Quitting your job and going on this crazy path is for everybody. Like I said, there's definitely hurdles and I've definitely shed a lot of tears over it. But if there's even something small in your life that you're like, well, I've always wanted to do that, whether it's trying something new, jiu-jitsu, for instance, I would have been scared to do that before. Just take the leap, even if it's a tiny leap. Like sometimes it works out really well for you.
Well, welcome back to Frank Podcast EP.24. I'm committed to provide you guys a podcast to learn and inspire and be happy. Today we have a guest, and if you guys are going through a divorce or trying to quit 9-to-5 job and following the dream, today's special guest, we're going to talk about how you can actually do that to be successful and be happy. And then we have a special guest today, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Please introduce yourself. I like to ask this question. If you have to make a website today, right? Like a brand new website, and if you have to write the bio today, what does that bio look like?
I'm Katie. I'm 35. I'm a mother of 3, and I own my own bakery. I quit my regular job to kind of chase my dream and open my own shop, and I'm a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at the Forge.
Yeah, so we train at the Forge, and then I start getting your meal prep on the side. That was delicious. And then can you kind of tell me about how you started a meal prep stuff for a Forge?
Sure. So the meal prep specifically, I've had people ask me for a little over a year, and because I'm a baker, I was a little nervous, even though I've been cooking for my family for a decade. But I started playing with some ideas, and actually Professor Tyler over at Scrap City was like, you just need to go for it. There's tons of people, athletes in the community who just don't want to think about their food. They want to just have it ready to go. And so I gave it a shot, and it's been super successful. So it's been really fun.
How many people you serve?
I think I have around 25 customers right now,
gotcha.
Which is pretty cool. It's less than, I've been doing the meal prep specifically for maybe a little over a month. And so it's really, for me, by myself, that's great.
Yeah. It's how did you come up with the recipe? And is that you have a protein and carbs intake or whatever?
So usually I'll do a complex carb, a protein, and then usually some kind of grain or vegetable. I have some clients that are actually doing low carb and no carb, so I do custom for them, or I'll just do the protein and the vegetables. The recipes, those are just tried and tested over years. With kids and stuff, you kind of have the best honest reviews of that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Carnitas is the best.
That's what everybody loves, the carnitas.
I tried good. And then the rice and everything, and I thought that was delicious. And it's low calorie.
Yeah, it's really,
and
it's
high
really
protein, and it's awesome. And then let's talk about jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you were saying that jiu-jitsu is a big part of your life, and then how did you get into it? How did you start it?
So my kids trained for about a year, and I was at the Forge.
Oh, cool.
And so I just kind of sit on the sidelines. Everybody remembers me as just the quiet mom who just kind of sit and watch. And at the time, the Forge had a lot of homeschool moms, and we homeschooled, so all of the moms were there. Eventually, all the moms started training. The dads were training. And then it just, after the first year, I was super nervous. I didn't even do no-gi. I was super scared of Professor Livingston, who's the best guy. I was just super nervous. So I didn't train as much my first year. And then I got super into it, just super addicted to it. You know how it is. I mean, once you start, it's you want to hit every class. You want to start competing just to kind of challenge yourself. And now it's a massive part of my life.
So before you go into Forge, why did you have your kid train at the jiu-jitsu?
We just started them doing jiu-jitsu just for some kind of new physical activity. They were all pretty small at the time. They'd never done any kind of sport really, maybe soccer here and there or something like that. But self-defense, I have 2 girls and a boy, so it's good for all of them kind of getting older, especially the girls, I feel like. And, just kind of a community outside of school that they could kind of hang with since we homeschooled. they're taking a break from it right now, but I think they're gonna get back into it as they get older.
It's kind of funny, right? Because like a lot of parents start doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah, so since I work at the Forge, it's kind of one of those things where they sign their kids up, and then a few months later they'll be like, can I do a trial class? And then before you know, we have all of these parents that are training, which is so awesome.
Yeah. Why do you think that is?
I think I assume it's the same reason I did. Is you see, I never did any sports, nothing athletic, but you see kind of everybody having fun and how you can kind of go at your own pace, as you learn, you think, well, I can do that. Like I could probably do it. And then, once you get started, it's just all downhill from there. I feel like if you're going to love jiu-jitsu, you really love jiu-jitsu.
Then like, how did you, so you guys, you got better and all that kind of stuff, you competing, like what was the process like to get better? And then like, like a lot of people takes time to like, adjust to jiu-jitsu. And then also like from just starting hobby and then becoming like, okay, this jiu-jitsu is a part of kind of life.
I would say when I took the leap to start no-gi and really started going, what's the beginning of my game? Do I have a game? I'm a blue belt, I don't know, I probably don't have really that much of a game, but really thinking about jiu-jitsu itself, and then definitely competing. I would not have considered myself a competitive person before jiu-jitsu. And then I saw, people competing that were just, normal people. It wasn't like they're these super young, strong athletes, because I'm a mom, I'm older. And I was like, I'm going to try it. And then, of course, just the same. You get addicted to challenging yourself. I feel like you want to push yourself to be the best you can be for whatever place you're at, from white belt, blue belt up. And so I was like, I always said, I'll never do a major tournament. I'm 30, whatever, 32, 33, 34. I'll never do that. And then last year, we did the PANS camp, and I was like, I'm going to try, they have my Masters 1 division. I'll try it, whatever. And it was the most, I didn't win. It was the most fun competing I've ever had. It was the most I pushed myself. That camp, almost killed me. But knowing I can get through that, and knowing, mentally you can push yourself to where you're driving home going, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? But the next day you get up and you do it again, I think is a huge, like just valuable thing to have in your life, to know you have that grit in you to do it.
Yeah, I love that because of the, I go through that same time, like, when you train hard,
it's rough.
and it's like, why am I doing this? Why
everything hurts,
hurts, injured, and then it's not fun, but it's fun, and it's just like, I guess like going through the uncomfortable times,
for sure,
make you stronger. And then I don't know if there is still stigma for jiu-jitsu for female to go into a jiu-jitsu class. Like, do you think there is a still stigma? There's a lot of people
I would say one super cool thing about the Forge that I found is, we used to have a women's only class, and now, we don't have women's only class. We all train together, and kind of the switch from a women's only class, you could train with everybody, of course, but there was a women's only class, to we all train together. I just feel like it just pushes us so much more, because for a while, in comp class, there were just a few ladies that would come, and then it was all these big dudes, and all the dudes, make sure they're not, just tearing you up and take care of you. They still use technique, but being out there training with strong athletic guys who are, not hurting you, the Forge is a great environment for that. It really pushed us to push ourselves and be like, we're not quitting, So as far as the stigma goes, I don't feel like that at the Forge has ever been a problem. I could see maybe if you're in a different gym, maybe that doesn't have as good of a culture as we do. I'm not trying to just be like Team Forge, but it's been pretty easy at the Forge. I feel like everybody's super welcoming. Nobody's gonna beat you up or make you feel like, and if you do ever treat a lady the wrong way, you know what I mean, you're gonna hear about it from one of the coaches. So I think too, with the popularity that jiu-jitsu's gained, there are more and more women getting into it. There is something really cool happened. Somebody saw one of the moms that used to, have a kid at our gym, and they left and had to move to another gym because of whatever. And, she was like, I remember Katie, I see Katie, she's out there doing it still, and so she signed up and trained at another gym. But I was like, that's super cool. I think it's really cool that you can, just one person training, one lady can get another person who would never have done something like that into it. So I think as the sport grows, it's going to be even more and more common as we see women get into it.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then I was curious, you help out at the Forge too, right?
Yeah.
And then what is common question you get asked, and then like like whenever people signing up, you know, like, oh, like, do you see like a people, oh, this people will never come back, or like, you know what I mean?
I would say a common question. Well, one thing that is really common that we see is a lot of parents bring their kids in for bullying, like more than I would think. I would think that there were, you know, of course, was a specific percentage of parents that wanted their kids to protect themselves. But we get a lot of parents that come and say, hey, this kid's been, you know, messing with my kid. We want them to know how to defend themselves. So that's been super cool to see, you know, bring them in, start them super young, get some skills behind them. I would think that somebody coming in and get, you know, rolling super hard, sometimes you get somebody brand new and they're just going crazy, you know, their first few classes, maybe they like hurt themselves because they're spazzing out a little bit, you know, that if you're into it, that doesn't stop. Like, people come back. Like, I think it's just like, it's such a weird sport, and it's such a like individual sport, but also kind of weird team sport that I feel like it's unique, and people, if they want to do it, they're coming back.
Yeah. And then like, it just, I mean, jiu-jitsu, even like combat sports, like people think that's individual sports, but it is truly team sports. Yeah. Because like, if you're a partner, you have to have a partner who are better than you.
Yeah.
And if you need to have a partner teach you stuff, grind stuff, and then like, if you're like even like rolling or something like that, if you're rolling with low level people all the time, and then you become a low level.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's cool to see each other progress. You know, you become so close with everybody because you're training with them, you're sweating like, you know, all over each other every week. And so they become your family, and then, you know, you're seeing these people kind of level up, and that makes you go, oh man, I better work harder. Like, I see my best friend over here, she's doing super good, like I better hit some more classes. So it's really cool. You're in, you know, they always say at the end of comp class, you know, without your teammates, you'd be nothing, you know. So it is a team sport, and then when you go out there and compete, like, it's all on you kind of, but it definitely reflects the kind of training we have at the Forge, I think, because everybody, you know, you'll be hard pressed to find somebody that's not a great training partner at the Forge, who's willing to push you. No easy rounds. You're not, you know, you're not getting babied. You're gonna get pushed for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Forge is a ton of killers.
Oh yes, definitely.
But let's talk about. So you said about, you know, you kind of wanted to talk about like jiu-jitsu helped your life going through divorce to getting a job to chasing the dream. Can you kind of walk me through that? Give me like more stories.
We'll go way back now. Okay, so I got divorced.
When was that?
It was a few years ago, and really like easy divorce, I should say. Props to my ex-husband. It's been super fine. A lot better than I think most divorces could go. But since I was a stay-at-home mom for 10 years, you know, I was a homeschool mom. I didn't really think about ever being divorced. I just thought, you know, this is just kind of my thing and I'm doing it. And then suddenly my life changes and I don't really have any skills. And I'm like, shit, I gotta like make money now. I have to do stuff to take care of my family, you know, whenever they're with me. And so I, you know, went to Professor Chris and was like, hey, I don't know really where to start as a single mom, you know, or just a single lady who doesn't really know what to do. And so he helped me out. He gave me a job kind of just working on some small things at the Forge, and now I'm the office manager. So he kind of started me getting back into the work field. And then I was like, you know, I still need a skill set that I can take with me. And what I've always done is bake and cook. You know, since way back, I kind of realized I was a horrible cook when I was a young wife and took it upon myself to kind of get interested in cooking and getting better. And so I've taught some cooking classes down at the Paseo, and I've entered baking comp, the state fair, just like little things that I thought were cool along the way. And I was like, you know, I love food. Food is like the culture of food. It brings people together. You have to, you know, have a family you can feed. So I was like, I think that I just need to pursue this. So I got a job downtown at a French patisserie. And I was just one of their bakers, and I made high-end desserts and French food there, and kind of worked there for over a year, learned the ropes of kind of back of the house, and like refined just my skill set as a baker in general. There's a big difference in baking, you know, cupcakes for a birthday party and baking like croissants. Like there's a huge difference skill set wise.
Really? How so?
The labor for one, and the like opportunity for failure in something that's a super delicate pastry is so much higher than just like, you know, you can bake cupcakes or whatever. So I started doing that. I was at the time, so I was working there, I was working at the Forge, and then I had a third job. I'm working at one of our sister restaurants just to kind of bring in extra money. And, you know, I was still trying to train, still trying to take care of the kids whenever they were with me. And so my schedule was kind of wake up at 3 a.m., get to work, clock in by 4 a.m., work until noon. And then I would take like a little break, go to my other job until 2, pick up my kids. We go straight to the Forge. And then it was just like the end of the night. So it was like a very compact, ridiculous, stupid schedule. So
waking up 3 a.m.
Yeah, wow. 3, it was not fun. But it was kind of necessary at the time, which is okay.
Yeah.
So the people at the Forge, professors who are all of our friends, and they're really supportive. And then, teammates, they would see me, after competition class, I'd be like, okay, I get off this time. I can run over there, hit a class really quick, and then go back to my other job, or like, oh, just be like 10 minutes late, I gotta go train. And so they're like, you're killing yourself. We can see you. You're like dozing off in the office. This is ridiculous. This is not sustainable. And I was like, well, I'm super scared that if I leave this job, I won't know what to do. And so, a couple of my friends who are like my best friends at the Forge, they were like, this is, you can do it. Just there's other ways to make money. Just quit, do your own thing. And it took me a few months. And then I finally just cracked one day, and I was like, you know what? This is not, I can't live like this. So I think I said to them, I would rather be broke and be able to see my family and be able to train and pursue my own dreams than do this cycle anymore. So I quit my job, and I went straight to work right before Thanksgiving to start Cats, which is my online bakery. And it was kind of the perfect time, because Thanksgiving is going to be your biggest like seller at all. If you're like a bakery or restaurant, like you're going to sell tons of food. So I got my website going, got my social medias going, and I definitely am broke, but I'm way happier. There are some days you wake up and you're like, what the fuck am I doing? This sucks. Like this is, definitely some L's and some learning, along the way, but the time that I have to just go, okay, I have this strange life that I've built where I have my kids and I have jiu-jitsu and I have my bakery, and like it works most of the time, even though I'm poor. It was worth the leap. But I could not have done it if my friends would not have said, my training partners and friends would have been like, just do it, just go for it. Yeah. So I think that's super cool to have that kind of support.
So you were saying whenever you were quitting job, did you start baking for yourself and your clients at the same time, or?
It was kind of like, it was right around the time we went to Pans. And so when I got back, it was pretty cut and dry. Stopped immediately, started going, okay, what is my Thanksgiving menu going to be? People have known that I've baked, just from social media, and you kind of know everybody. I know a lot of people in Oklahoma City who have bought stuff from me before, just off the site, birthday cakes and stuff like that. So they knew that I was a baker, and I was like, I bet if I do this, I have enough people that are supportive and friends and want to see me succeed, which is super cool, that I could start somewhere, even if it's small. And then my Thanksgiving menu came out, and it went bananas. People that I have never spoken to were buying, using Facebook.
So that was after you quit the job?
Yeah, after I quit, right away I got to it. So it was the whole month of November was quit my job, immediately start my Thanksgiving menu.
Wow.
So it was a very small window to work with him, but it worked out really well. So like I said, the kind of best case scenario in a situation like this is, your friends are supporting you, and but it's you can't really make a living off just your friends. You don't want to pressure anybody to just be like, yeah, my buddies are all supporting my business, So it's when I had new customers, people I've never met before, I'm like, okay, this is really good. Then word of mouth, kind of spreads, and then social media, of course, they have pages where you can post your food and stuff. And the same thing happened with meal prep. So it's been really, really good so far. Like I said, food is like a pennies game. You're not going to make a ton of money, especially when I'm the only one doing it.
Right.
But the trade-off for me is totally worth it.
So it's kind of interesting to me because of a lot of people who I had in this podcast, they had a job and then they pursue, for example, they used to be a teacher or something, and then he became a artist, a painters and stuff. And then so what he was saying, if you want to start new career, new job, and then you can start doing things you want to do at the same time before you quit. Then whenever that your salary and then what you're making on your passion it matches, or maybe a little less, then you you can just pursue your dream completely.
Yeah.
But what you say is like you just quit.
No, I was like, no money. Let's go straight into it. I was joking around the other day, or well, when I first started, I was joking around being like, hopefully I'm one of those stories on Oprah one day that's just like, she had $200 in her bank account and she had no idea what she was doing, but she made it happen. So I'm just still kind of riding that wave. But I think for me at that point, the stress of just not sleeping and my schedule being just so, self-inflicted, of course, that I was just doing too much was just like, I would just rather just go for it. I don't care if I don't have any money. I don't care if, I don't know how to start it. I can figure it out. And so I think that is, I don't think that quitting your job and going on this crazy path is for everybody. Like I said, there's definitely hurdles and I've definitely shed a lot of tears over it. But if there's even something small in your life that you're like, well, I've always wanted to do that, whether it's trying something new, jiu-jitsu, for instance, I would have been scared to do that before. Just, take the leap, even if it's a tiny leap. Like sometimes it works out really well for you.
What was the process like starting business? Like, did you just start talking to people, or like what was like start developing the menu? Like, cause like anybody can start the business, right?
Right.
But they have to like have, I don't know, like a legality wise, you have to have like bank account or all that kind of stuff, right? Like, so what was like a process you took? So
eventually, the end goal, which I'm not even close to this right now, but it's just kind of tiny baby steps, is a food truck. I want to have a food truck at some point. So I knew that was something that I wanted. And maybe 6 months before I quit my job, I kind of started talking to people at the Forge and being like, would you think people would come to this type of food truck? What are some ideas you guys have? I would bring little testers up there of just different things I was working on to let people try stuff. And whenever I finally was like, it's time to quit and go, the first thing I did was social media. So Instagram, Facebook, got everything going there and was just like, hey, on my personal social media, it was like, I've been wanting to do this. Most of you know I've been thinking about this. So something's coming, which is like not that huge of a buildup, but it was like everybody kind of knew like, okay, she's going to do this, which is pretty cool. And then I formed an LLC, which is super cheap. But it's only like $100 or something like that. Formed an LLC, got my website going. Those were the two major expenses to start it up. And then I took my menu, the way I built the menu was I took the things that I had been making for years, which are cinnamon rolls. It's something I've been making for like 10 years. Actually, at bakery job before I quit, started using my cinnamon roll recipe there, and people were calling and going like, hey, do you have cinnamon rolls today? And I'm like, that's my recipe. Like, I know it's a good recipe. So I know I can stick with that. And then it was just like, today's the day. We're going, launching the thing. The website's up. Like
Did you
I said,
make it your own website?
Yeah. It's with Squarespace. I'm not like a designer or anything like that, but
well,
it's pretty
cool,
good.
Though.
It looks
that's
good. Yeah,
yeah,
I think it looks pretty good. So people can order through the website. I honestly have a lot of people just message me, and I just do like Venmo or Cash App or whatever. But otherwise, like I said, with Thanksgiving, I had done Thanksgiving at the bakery before, and the volume was so high that I knew how busy it would be. So I kind of just put my own spin on things that I enjoyed whenever I was a kid and my kids enjoyed, and was like, I'm going to try this. And then, like I said, it worked out way better than I could have imagined. So I think it was worth it.
Awesome. Did you say you cried and then working through it, right? Like,
yeah.
What was
I like cry every day. No.
What was like a hardest thing during this transition?
I would say, okay. So there's many hard things. One thing is like, you put yourself in the situation where it's like, I know you hear the thing about owning a business for the first year. It's like a bunch of them fail because it's super hard. You don't make any money.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, there are times whenever I've been at the Forge in the office and I've just been like crying, and they're like, "Hi, are you okay?" And I'm like, maybe I should just go get like a part-time job or something. And it's like, no, I'm not going to even let that little thought that this isn't going to work get in my head. I don't care if I have to be poor for however long or whatever. If I'm working on it and I'm just still going toward my goal, I'm not going to let something distract me from that goal. So the idea that you put yourself in this position where you're not going to be doing well for a while because it's a baby business can be tough, because you're like, well, I did this to myself. It was, at least before then, I was getting a steady paycheck. But you do that to yourself. Sometimes you kind of get in your head a little bit about it. And then you kind of, I think, just have to remind yourself like there's a bigger goal. It's not, today's being easy. It's that at the end, you look back and you said, I did what I wanted to do in my life on my terms. I did, I was able to see my kids the way that they need to be seen. And I was able to train doing something that I love and work doing something like that I make the rules for. I set the prices. I know how the quality is, and that's what I think it's going to make it worth it. But definitely you have to have, I feel like, some tough skin, which I don't always have, because it's not all wins for sure. Like and also kind of navigating where your failings are as a person. It really shows up whenever you have your own business and things. It's like, I'm the kind of person that I will overcommit. I'll be like, I can do this, this, and this just because I want to be successful.
Yeah.
But it's like, that can bite you in the ass so fast if you're like, I'm one person, I have two hands, I cannot do all of this. I do not have enough time or, energy to do this with all the other stuff that I need to take care of as an adult. So it's definitely, there's been some learning curves. But yeah.
So like, would you say like, whenever you had a job, yes, like you were busy, you were waking up like 3 a.m. and whatever. And then, but as a business owner, it's like whenever you start a business, I tend to understand like for me, I worked more than I was working for somebody else.
Yeah.
Like hours wise.
Oh yeah.
But like it's like freedom is different. So like how? So you were saying like you were like sleeping like after like class or whatever, but like after starting business, how's that time like difference for you?
You might be able to agree, when it's for yourself, it's different. You're willing to make the sacrifice. I feel like if you're tired, it's like, but this is my baby. I can, I don't care if I'm tired. So the holidays at a bakery storefront are, extremely busy. You're working, really long hours. When you work in a kitchen, you might have seen some of those TV shows that have come out about like kitchen life and how stressful it is. When you get off at noon, a lot of times you're not getting off at noon. It might be 1 or 2 o'clock. You just stay until the job's done. And so then it can be like, wow, I'm really run ragged and I'm doing this all, but it's not my business. When you're doing that for yourself, it's like, because I want myself to win. I want, this to work for me. So I think a good parallel there is like Thanksgiving at my old job was super busy. And by the way, I actually loved all the people at my old job. I'm not like saying that. It was I just wanted to do my own thing. It was super busy and, we do an overnight there. So you go in the morning and you're working all night long and you leave at like 8 the next morning. And it's like, oh man, I'm so tired. My hands hurt, my feet hurt. You're not taking breaks. And so I did my first overnight by myself, when the bakery opened, and it was like, I had my music on, I had like, and it's like, this sucks, but it's for me, it's on my terms. So I think it makes a difference whenever it's you doing it for you. You kind of have the determination to be like, yeah, but fuck it. It sucks, but like this part of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. It's just like, I can totally understand that feelings like I have, I've started like this YouTube journey and all that kind of stuff. And then after practice, I come back to this office and then I edit it till like midnight or something like that, and then go back in the morning, go to gym or whatever. So like it's just for yourself, and then maybe like it's not making money now or whatever, but like it just kind of, if you're doing for yourself, it just doesn't really,
it seems like it's worth it more. Like and even if I feel like if I look back in 5 years and go, okay, maybe it's still not making, as much money as I would like, I still think the fact that, I am not going to die not knowing if it worked. I'm not going to die going, well, what if I would have tried? I wonder if that would have worked out. Like, at least I know, that competition's the same way, actually. I've said that about competing is it's like, I don't know, I'm 35. I don't know if I need to go to no-gi pants. Like, I don't know, what I'm doing. That's like, I don't want to be an old lady who can't even do jiu-jitsu anymore and look back and be like, I wonder if I would have went into pants, like how it would have shaken out, So I think it's the same way with business.
That's a like a number one regret of the like a people on the deathbed say a regret of like the things they didn't do or something like that. And
even
then,
if you fail, like at least know.
Why do you think you are like very motivated to do a lot of stuff like because I was curious, because there is a lot of people who start a business or do jiu-jitsu or whatever is people who are more doers, right? Like they think about it, they see the opportunity, they do it, right? There's a lot of people who are saying, oh, it'll be cool if I can do jiu-jitsu. It'd be cool. There is like, if I can start a business. there is so many people that around the world, around the United States, around your friends community, probably working in the dead-end job and they're not happy, but they're thinking about that, but they can't make the leap. But you did. Why do you think you could and then other can't? Or like maybe what advice can you give them? You know, like advice I just give them most of the time is just do it, right?
Yeah,
but like it's just like I was curious why you can make those leap.
I think, well, to answer the first part, you have to be like a little crazy, like a little bit just okay being kind of an outlier to either do jiu-jitsu or, you know, quit your job to do whatever. Like jiu-jitsu is, you're just going to get your ass beat every day and you're paying for it. It's like, it's a very weird thing. And then you're doing it multiple times a week and it gets harder and harder as everybody gets better. And so you have to be a little bit, I think, different to be really into jiu-jitsu. And so, I mean, I think the same thing is with the business thing and leaving my job. It's like there was a level of comfort even though my lifestyle sucked and I was tired all the time, but it was definitely easier to pay bills and easier to go, okay, well, this is something that is secure. I think if for me it was just that as I've gotten older and I see my kids getting older, it's like, life is this long. You only have like this much time. So if you want to do something, like what if something happens where you can't do that? You can't even have the chance. It's like right now I'm pretty healthy. I'm able-bodied. I have an ex-husband who's supportive. Like he's luckily, he helps with the kids. He helps me whenever I need help. So it's like, I feel like I'm in a good position to at least give it a shot. I think most people maybe wouldn't do it. I think the reason that I didn't do it before everybody, my friends were like, just quit, just take the leap, is just fear of, what if I'm not good enough at it? What if I'm not good enough to make it work? But then it's like, people fail at stuff all the time. Like, who cares? If you fail, like you can go back and get a job as a baker at another bakery. You know what I mean? I could go work wherever. It's not like there's not going to be any jobs available for me.
Yeah.
I could definitely see if you're like a doctor and you're like, I'm just going to quit and become whatever. It's like, that might be a little scary. Like that's a lot of security. But for me, it wasn't, it was like the risk was far worth being too scared.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I listened to different podcasts. His name is Jay Shetty. I don't know if you know him. He did like 4 years of a monk training before. Wow. And he's very, very famous. In like he does podcasts with a celebrity and all that kind of stuff. I was listening to it. I'm kind of into like his podcast these days. And then he was talking about there's a lot of people trying to do what they love, trying to search for what they love. And then they're just like, oh, I can't do what I love, blah, blah, blah. But like he has a different approach of the 3L approach, not the loser approach, but 3L approach. The first one is to learn. So because of the first, you learn new skill, right? And then you get to know, and then you learn new skills, and then you understand what it is. And then second step is to launch it. So because you learn, you have a skill, you launch some product or you launch some program. And the third thing is to love it. Because if you have learned it and then launched it and then perfected, you will most likely love it. Yeah. So I think that makes sense. Like a lot of people like try to do something and they start a business and then they think like, oh, I have to love it and I have to do this and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I think a lot of people forget the fact that a lot of business fail. Also, a lot of business owner is not business owner. Because I have my business since 2013. I have this for about 10 years now. But I wasn't here 10 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
I learned every step of the way, So like I think that's a kind of probably fear and then like too high of an expectation people have.
Just kind of jumping off right off, go, I have this idea, I'm just gonna do it kind of thing. That's kind of how I feel. Like one reason I'm super grateful that when I got divorced, I went to the bakery to work because it's like I knew how to bake. I know that I know flavors and I know how to make things taste good and look pretty, but I need to refine that. I need to know what the volume is like, how it is to make a bunch of something for a bunch of people, you know, at a time that's reasonable. Because before, you know, I was a mom, I could make whatever at what, you know, it takes me 6 hours. It doesn't matter. I'm just out doing whatever alongside of it. But here it's like, no, you know, you have 1 hour to make X amount of things and it needs to be done and they all need to look perfect. So definitely learning kind of how that works and seeing, you know, I actually am doing some, you know, some big catering things now, which is super cool and great for the business, and seeing how the catering side of it works and how, you know, each thing needs to be identical, and it's a beautiful machine whenever you do it right. Like all that stuff I would not have been able to, I think, launch Cats without like seeing all that and working in it, you know, for over a year first.
What are the like things you wish you knew whenever you started business?
I wish, well, this goes back further. I wish that just as a person, I would have thought to create a skill set or safety net or some kind of thing for myself, just in case I ever like wanted to try something, even if I was married, wanted to try something on my own, or, you know, my case, I got divorced. So, you know, I go into this life when it's like, I look back, I think, wow, you didn't protect yourself at all. Like you didn't think, you know, say I'm married or not, like I need to have a skill or I need to have a nest egg or something, you know, looking back. Save your money, people. Like save money, like protect yourself, like get a little stash going. I definitely think it would be way easier to have gone into opening a business with like a good amount of money. You know, I started I got divorced, so I, you know, was married for all those years, got divorced, starting from zero, like no credit, nothing. That's all on me. Like I just never thought that I'd be in the position to have to kind of need that stuff, and definitely never thought I'd be opening my own business. So for people that are younger than me, all you young ones, like just think about your future, and like if you might want to do something one day, just protect yourself, like get a skill, save your money, even if it's just a little bit. Like I think it could go a long way.
That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I guess like I don't know. It's kind of weirdly I can relate because of my mom is always told me that like whenever she had me, she quit her job. Yeah. And then she raised me and my sister, my little sister. And then whenever I was growing up, she always told me like whenever you get married, you have your wife should have a career. And then they like you should be supportive. Then you should love your wife the way she has a life or whatever. Yeah. So that, like, it's always in my head. So whenever I'm like with my girlfriend and stuff, like, I don't want to stay home mom, that kind of stuff. But
well, and I should say too, like being able to be with my kids. You know, I have 3 kids, so we had a big family at that time. You know, I was young, I was in my early 20s, and it was like that time with them that I got, you know, just one-on-one, and we homeschooled. So it was like every breath I took, they were taking it with me. You know, it was just very a tight-knit thing with mom and her kids. You know, while my ex-husband worked like that, I'm super grateful for that. Like it made me into the woman I am today, and I'll never be able to get that time back. And as I see my kids getting older and like, you know, they don't want to hang out with me anymore, I'm like, oh, thank God I had that.
How old are they?
I have a 16-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 9-year-old. So cool. They're getting, you know, they don't care about whatever mom wants to do anymore. My 9-year-old does a little bit. She still wants to bake with me and stuff. But the older ones are growing up, and so it's like I got that time with them that was super special. I wish that I just would have thought for myself, like, one day I might have to be less of a mom and more of like independent Katie. And so it's like, you don't ever become less of a mom. Like they still all need me, whether they want to admit it or not. But you also like maybe have to grow yourself one day. And you know, how do you do that if you've not thought about it? So it's been an interesting few years learning how to navigate it all.
That is awesome. I'm like a very you know, I respect so much of what you have done. And then I was curious, like, you know, I get to ask this question so many times too, is like, because you are mom, you manage gym and you train at the gym and you own the business, right? How do you manage your time?
So it has not been, I will be the first to admit it has been a learning process and I have not been perfect at it. It is something that every week I feel like I'm working with my ex-husband to kind of go, I feel like this is not working very well here. Like, how do we adjust this? Because for me, I mean, I love jiu-jitsu to the point where I would train every day if I could. I do 2 days if I could. It's not good. If you have kids, you can't do that. Like, they do not need to be not only hanging out with me at the gym while I work, but then also staying late for class. That's kind of an adjustment I've had to see, from a parent's perspective. No, I need to like take the kids home, kind of split my time differently. So that's kind of one cool thing about owning your own business, though. It's like, if you want to take a bunch of orders one week, then great. Like, you can do that. If you want to maybe train more, maybe don't take as many orders. It's kind of like you get to be a little bit flexible. But I will say, probably you feel the same way. You always wish there was more time. Like, you wish that there were more hours in the day. But I think a cool trade-off of like all the bad sides of, starting a business and how it's difficult is that your schedule is what you make it, which I love. Like, I think it's really cool.
That makes sense. It's like, but a lot of people say it's like, oh, I can't go to gym because I don't have time, right?
Yeah,
it's just a priority.
Yeah. It's just, Well, so I have a knee injury right now, and so I haven't been able to train, and so I've been like going and lift weights, which is just like not the same as jiu-jitsu. But it's like, I definitely would be able to fall into that mindset right now, just because I'm so annoyed about not being able to train. That's like, well, I really should be doing this. Or I really should be doing that. It's like, no, get off your ass. Go lift weights. Go do what you're supposed to do, if that's all you can do right now. So yeah, it's easy to fall into that mindset.
So do you think that, I think that what I'm hearing is like, you kind of thought of like have a picture of doing stuff and then whatever. But also, I think I respect is that you kind of like ask others and then build the community to help you. But also, some people have a hard time to asking and say, hey, like some people like afraid to say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then they just like kind of shell yourself, and then like you can't talk to them, and then like kind of fail by itself, I guess. Yeah. But you were able to just ask for the help, right?
People, I think, and when I first opened it, people were messaging me. Like, I did not, they were excited that I think, I would feel the same way if I saw somebody I loved and cared about, going to try something that was kind of scary. It's like, how can I help? What can I do? You see people posted from the Forge that are like, hey, I'm, getting these meal preps, like trying to like build me up on their stories and stuff like that. That's, I'll never forget that. Like being supported like that. It's just something I'll never forget. It's been, even if I get one person interested in it or nobody, just the thought that they would take the time to do that is something I'll be grateful for forever. But I was getting messages from people that just kind of had random jobs in different like business sectors going, hey, if you ever need help with this, or if you ever need help with this. And it's like, man, that's so cool. Like, people, I think, genuinely just want to help other people. Like, when they see they're doing the right thing and they're working hard and they're, focusing on the right things, I think people want to help. So don't be afraid to ask for help. The only thing I will say, it can be hard to ask for help whenever you feel like you're being a burden on somebody, or it's like it's taking time from them or whatever. But I think I've learned over this process, most people want to help. Like, if you're your friends or family, like just say yes. they want to do it. They want to help you.
Yeah, for sure. And then I do ask this question to every guest that I ask. What is advice you give yourself to 5 years ago? So 5 years ago. 2018, right?
Yeah, that's when I started jiu-jitsu. That's the year I started jiu-jitsu.
Oh, nice.
So let's see. What advice would I give myself? I would give myself the advice to slow down. Just slow down. It's easy, I think, to get ahead of yourself whenever you want something to happen or you feel like you're on like that precipice of change. It's like, let's dive headfirst into it, full stop, which can be really good. But I think for me specifically, like I said, because I kind of try to overdo everything or say yes to everything, it's easy to bog yourself down with a lot of stuff. And it's like, maybe slow down, refocus, like maybe give a hint to myself that like it's not going to be that easy in 5 years. I don't know how to like prepare.
Save your money.
Yeah. That's it. Save your money. Just squirrel back a little bit, Katie. Just a little bit. Yeah, that'd be good. But I think slow down. Like, I think we can all slow down a little bit sometimes, which I'm very, very bad at doing. I still need to give myself this advice, but it's like if you want to be successful, or if you're like a person driven by doing all the things you can do while you're on this earth, it's easy to overwhelm yourself. And that's something I struggle with all the time.
What do you mean by slowing down? Like, it's just like relax.
Maybe like refocus, like stay focused. That might be better than slowing down. Like instead of having all these ideas everywhere and like you're going to do it all, you're going to compete, you're going to train all this time, you're going to open a business, it's like maybe just like do all that, but be very focused instead of being all over about it. Does that make sense? I don't know.
Kind of like, cause I struggle the same thing, right? Cause like I have a lot of, I got a podcast going, YouTube going, business, fitness, friends and family and all that kind of stuff. It's like
you have to maintain all of it. It's hard sometimes.
So but like it's like people tell me, I hate people tell me like you're doing too much. I'm like I can't do it all.
I know.
But like slow it down. Like right now, like it's kind of for me is you know, I always thought about I need to do everything perfect.
100%. We're the same.
So now like I don't know if you meant by slowing down as like, hey, if you're at least taking one step at a time of the each goals of you have, you're okay. Just chill.
It's like it's a marathon, not a sprint kind of thing. But I'm the same way. I don't want to do something unless I'm doing it the right way. And then if you ask me to do extra, I'll usually say yes. Like, sure, let me do that too. Let me take that on too, which is like, it can kick yourself in the ass sometimes. But also too, I think as far as slowing down goes for me and like focusing is it's like, enjoy what you're doing, because I could take on so much sometimes that I'm just like, check, it's done. I got this done to, the best of my ability. But then I like sit down at the end of the day and I'm like, let me review what happened today. Like, did I take the time to enjoy what I'm doing? Because at the end of our lives, like, what's the point if you're not, being mindful about what you're doing and enjoying the process? Like you do have a list of achievements, but it's like, do you have a list of like memories based on, enjoying those things? So I think for me, that's something that I'm very, very bad at. Like I'll be like, this time is blocked out for this. Okay, got that done. Move on to the next thing. Instead of being like, let me live in this moment instead of living in the, the future or the past kind of thing.
That sounds very simple to like enjoy the moment, living that, like take a breathe and then relax and slow it down. But do you have advice on how to do that?
Oh, man, I'm awful at it. I'm so bad at it. I still work on it like every day. Well, so
when is the last time you thought about, I'm enjoying this moment?
It's a lot easier now with my kids, now that I have the time that I want to spend focused just on them, not like, I have to go to bed early because I have to go to work. I have to be here because I want to make sure like my classes for training or I'm hitting my goals there. It's like I've slowed that down some. So it's like our time, we might just be like the other night we got pizza and we were just like watching memes on YouTube, like something silly. It's like I sat there and I was like, this is like good. We're just joking, laughing, like this is how it's supposed to be right now. I don't need to think about tomorrow or what I need to do next. I need to slow down and do this now. I try to kind of think about that about competition too, is it's like you get so worked up, or I know I did. I was the worst about getting like amped up about competing, like in my head, whatever. And it's like, now I'm a little bit better at going, enjoy this time. You're pushing yourself. Your body, somehow at 35, you could still, get out there and scrap like that. That's pretty cool. Like enjoy the training, enjoy your laughing with your second family, enjoy all those things. Now, I will still say that's probably like 50% of the time I'm good at doing that. It's hard to be mindful sometimes. It's really hard to be present, I feel like. Yeah,
I do have a hard time doing that. And then like the other day I heard like that to take it in that moment is like there is like a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 rule.
Yeah.
Have you heard of it? Mm-hmm. Like just like look at 5 things.
Yeah.
Is that 4? Look at 5 things and then 4 things to hear.
I don't remember, but I've heard of that.
Yeah, before. 4 things to like hear, 3 things.
It just like keeps you mindful for that
smell
moment.
Something like that. But I try to do that, and then it's just hard to.
Are you good at it?
No, I'm not good. I'm like you.
Just like a little squirrel. I'm just
I have a list of things to do, and then I need to achieve it.
Yeah. Which is so funny because we think achieving our, we cross off our checklist for the day and we got everything done. And it's like, you sit in bed and you're like, I did that. But then it's like, I did those things, but it's like, what did I take from each of those things other than me checking off a list? Did I take other things from it? Am I being rewarded from, what each of these things means? Or am I just seeing the reward in that I finished a list of items? So I think that's like something that I have always struggled with that I'm trying to be better about.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of goes to training jiu-jitsu too, probably. It's like you can go roll with a lot of people or like a drill with a lot of people, but if you don't reflect what you did good and then what can you do better next time.
Yeah.
Then you're probably not gonna get better.
No, just going through the motions kind of or whatever. Yeah, or I think I do that with open mats sometimes too. As I'll just go and I'll like, oh, let's get a bunch of rounds in, whatever. But it's like I'm not even thinking sometimes. Like, am I playing the best game I'm playing right now? Which I think sometimes it's okay to relax and like, especially if it's not competition time or season. It's like, okay, let's have fun with jiu-jitsu right now instead of just putting so much pressure on yourself. But I feel like I would say for a lot of adults, being mindful and present is a struggle for them all. Like, I think it's hard for everybody to just be in the moment and go, what am I taking from this or giving to the situation? I don't know.
Well, so that next one would be, how do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, yes, 5 years. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'll be 40. About to be 41. That is crazy. 41-year-old Katie. I really hope that, oh, my kids are going to be so old then too. Don't bring this up on the podcast. 41-year-old Katie, I hope that I can do some majors. Like, I want to do some major tournaments. And I would like to podium in them, and not like third place consolation podium at IBJJF. I want to actually do some good work at some major tournaments. I hope the food truck exists by then. 5 years I feel like is a good time frame to be working on getting a food truck open. And then I hope that, all my body doesn't hurt too much. That's the main thing. Like, no injuries, no major surgeries, nothing like that.
What is the process to open a food truck?
Well, for me, my process, which who knows if it's the right one, but it's what I'm going with. It's the way that I figured that I'm going to do it is, I have the bakery and it's small right now. It's online. I'm doing custom orders. I think actually I just sent a contract out and had it filled for the biggest catering project I've ever had. I'm super excited about, and I'll kind of talk about that on social media whenever it's getting close to the date in a few weeks. But things like that, I think will really build up word of mouth for the business and get some clients that are not just, in my wheelhouse of like athletes, jiu-jitsu community, family, friends. And then I want to move to farmers markets. So take the things that have been working at the bakery, small scale, take them to farmers markets next season. You have to get licensing for that and stuff, but it's not too tricky. And then see kind of what works at the farmers markets at a larger scale, and then take that to the food truck. Because with a food truck, you don't want to have what I call the Taco Bell problem, where it's like they have 1,000 different items with like 5 ingredients, and it's like they're all kind of like middling. Like, you want to have 5 to 7 really good items.
I didn't know Taco Bell had 1,000 items.
They have like 30 or something. When you go, it's like I feel like their menu is like every week there's something new on the menu, which is, I like Taco Bell. I'm not. But for a food truck, you really only want to have a handful of really good stuff that you sell. It's a truck. You're not gonna be in there making 30 different things. So that's my plan. Like, small right now, small baker with the farmers markets, and hopefully catering continues to grow, weddings, things like that, and then food truck. So I have no idea if that's the right path. I am literally flying by the seat of my pants. I do everything the weird Katie way. So we'll see if it works out.
Well, that sounds good to me.
Yeah,
I think hopefully it goes well.
I think it would have been much more stupid if I would have been like, okay, I'm quitting my job. I'm going to get a loan for $40,000 and open a food truck and have no idea what's going to work. So I think I'm doing the baby steps the right way. And I'm just not putting any pressure on myself to be like, well, in 6 months, this needs to be done. It's like, I'm going to let it kind of organically kind of see where it goes, and then slowly put some heat on myself. So that's my plan so far.
For sure. So how can people find you, and then like how can people like order your food? And
so I have the most success with Instagram because obviously it's food. You want to see what it looks like. At Cats OKC, what's Cats_OKC is my bakery stuff. And then my private page is at Katality, and that's for my meal prep and things like that. Facebook's the same thing. And then I do custom orders the same way. If you have a question, it's not on my menu, which is catsokc.com. You can just message me and we'll work it out. Like, I do custom stuff all the time. That's kind of how this big, exciting thing that I'm working on for the next couple of weeks came about, is somebody just messaged me and was like, hey, would you be willing to do this kind of weird thing? And I was like, yes. So it's like, I'm open to anything. I like to be creative and fun. So hopefully,
What's a custom thing look like? Like from catering to like, I have an office party, I want you to cater. I have a wedding, you want me to cater. You want to cater.
So, I have a very small menu on the website, and that is for a good reason. I handpick things that I know people have liked, and I know that are very good and consistent, that, if you take them to a party or event, they're not everybody's going to like them. Catering, as far as that goes, I mean, I've had people say, you know, will you do a full charcuterie spread, which is not, you know, not on the menu, like a full table charcuterie spread with desserts, to I'm doing like this kind of whole event for, you know, it's like a very large group that's like Western themed, like just like Western themed food, like pulled pork, things like that. So it kind of can get unique, but I prefer it that way. It keeps me, I think, creative. And that's one thing I love about doing my own thing is it's like I can say yes or no to anything I want. So I think it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Sounds good. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming in. And then, well, thank you everybody for watching this episode. If you're watching this on YouTube, please give us a like and comment and what you learned from this episode, and then maybe support Katie and cheer about food truck, a new tournament coming up. And if you're listening to any podcast streaming line like iTunes or Spotify or something like that, please give us a 5-star. I'm not sure what it does for me, but I'm pretty sure it does pretty good. So thank you guys watching and listening. See you guys next Friday. Peace.
Thank you. Thank you.